Okay, so to summarize today, my plan was very good, but my execution was very poor. My plan was long, as yesterday we made this huge move up due to news, like almost 4% on Nasdaq and also almost 4% on S&P. After we made this huge move up, let me just mark out when the day ended. Around here. So made this huge move up, then we started trending down, making all of these low resistance, making all of this low resistance liquidity. We opened during Asia session. We also trended down, and pre-market London, we had this manipulation to the downside. Followed that, we had distribution to the Asia highs, and during London Open we went down. I thought that this was a reversal, so I entered off this 5-minute change instead of the delivery, and then I got stopped out here. So fast forward to New York session. My plan for New York session was obviously longs, and I was favoring this on Nasdaq, as on Nasdaq we made an SMT divergence from this to this, whereas on S&P we manipulated these lows. Then during market open we closed above this candle, having a 5-minute change in state delivery in both S&P and Nasdaq. However, this quickly was followed to a very aggressive move to the downside in both indexes. So I went short on S&P, as we did have this SMT divergence here, and S&P was the weaker index. However, my entry was very bad. It was kind of FOMO. I entered here off of this retracement of my entry here, and then I got stopped out. I think that this was actually a valid short entry. If I were to have entered it correctly, what I should have done is, probably as soon as I saw these two aggressive candles forming this 1-minute change in state delivery, I should have just entered here and then targeted this or this. So after that I was still pretty bullish because we had this reversal. Then I noticed S&P was more bullish than Nasdaq due to this SMT divergence. So I marked out the 50% of this and had my entry here. Now for my targets, this is probably my biggest error today, other than the FOMO and the reversal. During New York pre-market, we made all of this low resistance liquidity, which I'll just mark out now. So this was kind of the first liquidity level here. We had this fair value gap. The next liquidity level I marked out was these London highs, and then this distribution. Right. Then after that, this was kind of the next liquidity level. With high resistance liquidity here. Again, we had a 15-minute fair value gap in here. And then we had all of this, and then obviously buy side liquidity here. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Obviously this was the sell side liquidity for both. Now, here's where I made the mistake. Well, the biggest mistake of today, I think, was failing to realize that this was the first liquidity level, as we had a pretty big gap between these two, and also this liquidity level wasn't that strong. We took out these highs on Nasdaq. We also took out these highs. So this was the trade, something like this. Now I just want to go to the 5-minute here and review the price action here, because it was actually pretty terrible. Like, it's just weird. We had this kind of consolidation area, then a huge move, 0.6% move in 2 minutes, then we had this candle all the way down, all the way up, which definitely messed with my mindset for the trade. However, we did tap into this liquidity level, and I wanted my first take profit to be here at the top of this liquidity level. What I should have realized is that this was the first liquidity level, or I should have DP'd. I mean partialed. So after that, I de-risked my stop to here. Yeah. Below whatever this range is, and my plan for this was, I should explain that. First of all, we started trending to the downside. I still had a pretty good bias that it's gonna go higher, so I held. And here, I really thought I was cooked because it just started dumping. However, what I realized is that we had all of this low resistance liquidity here. And Nasdaq swept it. However, S&P did not sweep any of this low resistance liquidity, and it had a 5-minute change instead of delivery, so this was now a valid SMT. So that's why I decided to hold even higher. And yeah, coming into New York PM session, we retraced. If we go to the 15-minute, we made a order block here, and then closed over it, validating it. and we tapped into that order block again. Just moved down, closed over it, so I now moved my stop to here, and then obviously we came up here, we took out some of this low resistance liquidity, started trending down, and then what do you know, Trump says something. I was actually about to do my sort of chest supported roast when I just check it and I just see, I saw this candle, I'm like, bro, there's no way. And then it just started going up and I was like, bro, come on. And if I didn't de-risk and I just kept my stop loss here, I would have, gone the trade. But, sucks, whatever. Fucking Trump. My biggest mistake today was probably, well, other than the shit retracement I took here, and the FOMO short on S&P, was failing to realize about this first significant liquidity level. I thought I should just went higher, so I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. My plan today was very, very good. I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to do, however my execution was just terrible, which caused me to lose first 350 on the retracement long, then 400 due to how fast the price moved on the short, and then I got stopped out at 250, so about 1.5 lost today. I mean, yeah, whatever. I'm kind of tilted, but it's tough.